She called him a thug. Not in private, not behind his back, but right to his face. And it wasn't just any face, it was Snoop Dogg's. What happened next? Let's just say her words came back to bite her, hard. This wasn't just a random insult, it's bigger than that. It's about the audacity of racism in broad daylight and the power of a response that shuts it down completely. Stick around because Snoop didn't just clap back, he made a statement that everyone needs to hear. You don't want to miss this. Today, we're diving into a jaw-dropping moment that occurred at a public event. Snoop Dogg was performing when a racist comment was hurled his way. What he did next left everyone speechless and sparked a conversation we all need to hear. It was a sunny afternoon at an outdoor music festival in Los Angeles. The crowd was buzzing with excitement, eagerly awaiting Snoop Dogg's performance. As he took the stage, the energy was electric. Snoop Dogg began his set, delivering hit after hit, and the audience was loving every moment. In the middle of his performance, a woman in the front row shouted a racist remark, "Go back to Africa." The words cut through the music like a knife, and for a moment there was a stunned silence. The crowd couldn't believe what they had just heard. Snoop Dogg paused, his face reflecting a mix of shock and anger. The problem was clear: a blatant act of racism in the middle of a celebration of music and culture. It was a moment that could have easily escalated into chaos, but Snoop Dogg knew he had to handle it with care. As the murmurs grew louder, Snoop Dogg took a deep breath, composing himself. Instead of reacting with anger or aggression, he decided to address the situation with dignity and grace. He stepped to the edge of the stage, looked directly at the woman, and prepared to speak. Snoop Dogg stood there for a moment, taking a deep breath. The crowd was quiet, their eyes locked on him, waiting to see how he'd respond. Everyone could feel the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about him. It was about something bigger, something that mattered to everyone in that crowd. Finally, he spoke, his voice calm but full of purpose. "You think your hate can shake me?" he said, looking directly at the crowd. "Watch what I do with it." The silence was deafening. Every single person was hanging on to his words, waiting to hear more. Snoop Dogg didn't hold back. "It's 2025, and we're still dealing with this kind of ignorance," he said, shaking his head. "But let me tell you something. Hate only has power if we let it, and I'm not about to let it win. Not now, not ever." He paused, scanning the crowd, making sure his words hit home. "Our real strength doesn't come from tearing each other down," he continued. "It comes from lifting each other up, from standing together no matter what we look like or where we're from. That's what scares them. That's what makes us unstoppable." The crowd erupted into cheers, but Snoop Dogg wasn't done. He raised his hand, calming them down. "This is about all of us," he said. "Every single person here has the power to choose unity over division, love over hate. So let's make that choice. Together." His words left a mark, a message no one in that crowd would forget. And just like that, Snoop Dogg had turned a moment of hate into a lesson in strength and unity. Snoop Dogg took a deep breath, his voice steady but full of emotion. He looked out at the crowd, his words cutting through the silence like a blade. "I'm not just standing here as an artist," he began. "I'm standing here as a black man who's lived through the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've seen racism. I've felt it. I've been judged for the color of my skin before people even knew my name." The crowd was locked in, their focus entirely on him. "But let me tell you something," he continued. "For every moment of hate I've faced, there's been love, resilience, and strength from my community that's carried me forward. That's what keeps me going. That's what lifts me up." He paused, letting the words sink in. "We're not here to tear each other down. We're here to build each other up. It's our differences, our backgrounds, our cultures, our stories that make us powerful." When we embrace those differences instead of fearing them, we become unstoppable. The crowd nodded, murmurs of agreement spreading like ripples in water. Snoop wasn't done. He stepped closer, his voice growing louder. It's time we stop letting hate divide us. It's time we learn from each other, support each other, and celebrate what makes us unique. That's how we rise above all this. That's how we win. Applause began to break out, but Snoop raised a hand to calm it. And to anyone still holding on to hate, I've got this to say. You're wasting your energy. Hate won't break me. It won't break us. We're stronger than that. As he finished, the crowd erupted into cheers so loud they seemed to shake the ground. The woman who had made the racist comment stood frozen, her face pale, her confidence shattered. She looked around, realizing she was utterly alone in her hate, while the crowd rallied around Snoop, their applause and shouts of support drowning out her ignorance. In that moment, Snoop Dogg had done more than respond to hate. He had turned it into a powerful call for unity, leaving a lasting impact on everyone in that crowd. The incident quickly went viral on social media, with videos of Snoop Dogg's response being shared and praised by people all over the world. News outlets picked up the story, highlighting how he had turned a moment of hate into an inspiring message of hope and unity. Snoop Dogg received an outpouring of support from fans, celebrities, and public figures. His actions sparked important conversations about racism and the need for respect and understanding in our society. Interviews with audience members revealed just how impactful Snoop Dogg's response had been. One attendee said, "I was shocked when I heard that woman shout those words, but Snoop's response was incredible. He turned a negative situation into a powerful message of unity. It was a moment I'll never forget." Another added, "I've always admired Snoop Dogg, but my respect for him grew even more after seeing how he handled that situation. It takes a lot of courage and strength to respond the way he did." The ripple effects of Snoop Dogg's response were far-reaching. Schools and organizations used the incident as a teaching moment to discuss racism and the importance of standing up against hate. Public figures and activists cited Snoop Dogg's speech as a powerful example of how to confront racism with dignity and strength. Many schools incorporated discussions about the incident into their curriculum. Teachers used the video of Snoop Dogg's response to spark conversations about racism, respect, and the power of words. Students were encouraged to share their own experiences and thoughts on how to combat hate in their communities. Community organizations also took note of the incident. They organized events and workshops to promote understanding and unity. These events brought people from different backgrounds together to share their stories, learn from one another, and work towards building a more inclusive and respectful society. The incident also highlighted the impact that celebrities and public figures can have in shaping social attitudes and fostering positive change. Snoop Dogg's actions showed that even in the face of hate, one can choose to respond with love and inspire others to do the same. In the weeks and months following the incident, Snoop Dogg continued to use his platform to advocate for unity and respect. He participated in interviews, panel discussions, and public events, sharing his message of hope and resilience. His words and actions resonated with many, inspiring them to stand up against racism and work towards a more inclusive world. The woman who had made the racist remark also faced consequences for her actions. Her identity was eventually revealed, and she received widespread criticism and backlash. Many people called for her to be held accountable and to learn from the incident. Some organizations even reached out to her, offering resources and support to help her understand the impact of her words and to encourage her to change her ways. Have you ever been falsely accused or felt like no one believed you? Share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you overcame it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that inspire and challenge the way we see the world. Subscribe for more powerful stories of resilience and unity.